Welcome back to the Harwood Rundown podcast. We're back again. Yes, this is episode 5 of the playoffs. Um, Finally, the Miami Heat defeated the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they will now face the Nuggets in the NBA Finals. Uh, I mean, the series was just really weird. The fact that you had a team come back from 3-0. Jaylen Brown's like, don't let us get the next one. And I was like, surely he's going to get clowned on. But no, they came back from 3-0 to force a game 7, which is
Yeah,
insane. And it was a
insane.
pretty game 7, like in terms of back and forth. And
Mm.
uh, but yeah, we'll briefly talk about that. And then we'll talk about the Nuggets Heat NBA Finals, which we talked about last week. Like, we think it's going to be better than what people are saying. Like,
Uh,
they have a
yeah.
bit of history as well, bit of shit going on. But yeah, it's gonna be a good series. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's recap Eastern Conference Finals. Bloody hell.
Honestly, last week we were talking about how Miami are going to walk away with this series, and I think now I still believe that they did because I don't really count Game 6. Game 6 was such a lucky ending. Derek White just knew what he
Mm.
was doing, where he was going, where the ball was going to land. I don't like somehow it just ended up being a Boston win. Um, and then obviously Miami come out in Game 7, just absolutely wiped the floor with Boston. Jaylen Brown, 8 turnovers in an elimination game, shooting 8 for 23. If you shoot that high of a clip, at least make it high percentage shots. I think in the second half, he just started jacking threes, all these contested layups.
Yeah.
I said it last week and I'll say it again. There is going to be some things happening in Boston. I know they said today that they want to re-sign him past his current deal. But I don't know. I think for his sake and for Boston's sake, they should just both part ways. I think
Wow.
I could honestly see him somewhere like Houston where he's back with Ime Udoka and it's like his team, or he can go somewhere like I don't know. I don't know. I just don't think it works. I said it last week. I don't think it works. I think he tries to take over too much. And I know Jason Tatum was injured in like the first like 15 seconds or something. And you kind of have to take over at that point because Jason's limited to what he can do. But even then you had 8 turnovers. Every time he went to his left hand, it seemed like he was lost.
Mm.
Miami kept forcing him left, results in turnovers, poor shots. Um Honestly, not a bad first half from Boston, but then it just kind of I think they went 0 for 10 from 3 to start the game. That just
Mm.
for one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league who can carve up at any given time, to go 0 for 10 from 3 to start the game, you kinda don't really get back into a rhythm after that. And Miami is I'm trying to think of the word. Um,
Intimidating? No?
yeah, and they can pounce on you at any time, especially when you're down. So I think that as well as Caleb Martin.
Mm.
I honestly I think they went with the narrative of giving Jimmy Butler. I know it's just a stupid trophy, but
Yeah.
they went with the narrative for the MVP. I think it should have been Caleb Martin because he was the guy that was like when Jimmy wasn't when Jimmy wasn't doing much, you could go to Caleb Martin and get a bucket. Like he was just
Mm.
that dude the whole series. And especially the situation that he was in prior to coming to Miami. I think that's a better narrative than Jimmy Butler winning Eastern Conference Finals MVP. But
Mm.
yeah, what do you think of the series? I thought it was a pretty good series, but it shouldn't have gone to 7.
Yeah, I was just like, get this over with already. Um,
I know.
it was so frustrating as a Philly fan watching Celtics just hit every three. Like, they just were not missing. And they're such a smart team to where if you do go 0 for 10, like something needs to change. Like, you need to go at Bam. Like, we don't with the Heat, they didn't have a second string big man who, like, I mean, like Cody's there, like, but like you want someone like take Bam out of the game. Like, that's a great screen setter for them, and he's someone
Mm.
who has been able to handle the ball. Although that's been a bit of a meme where he handles the ball and turns it over, but he's such a perfect like center for the Heat. If you take him out of the game, like it's really tough for them to get that win. Just him having that mid range is so important. So I was surprised, like when they just didn't stop. Like 0 for 10 for three, live by the three, die by the three. I hate seeing that with
100%.
teams who are genuinely so talented and they can um you know infiltrate in other areas. And Celtics are a great passing team. They're able to execute the pick and roll. Use Robert Williams for lobs. Like they're really solid. And like when they have like Tatum would sometimes choose to cut into the middle, or Jaylen Brown cutting to the middle. That's an easy little midi or like a little floater. Like I feel like they just didn't go to that enough, and it's frustrating because they are a really like great system. And then when it comes to the threes, it's just kind of consumed or consumed them that game. But like, got to give them credit. Like, man, coming from 3-0 down, no one really wanted Celtics. Everyone kind of wanted Heat because it's the storyline,
It's the narrative,
and
yeah.
they brought it back. They I love how they said, "Don't let us get the next game." That's a lot of confidence, and they still backed it up. Like,
Jaylen Brown said it after Game 7. Don't let us get
yeah,
one.
don't let us get
Game
game
8, baby. Game 8, baby.
8. Yeah, I was happy with it. I texted you about it, and I was like, if Heat finished them in 4, I would say Heat in like 6 or 7 for the NBA Finals against the Nuggets. But considering they had extra 3 games, it took them
Yeah.
to finish them off. It's like, well, actually 4. Like it's more footage for Nuggets to really analyze, and it really poked a lot of holes in Miami as a team. So from that, I think Nuggets
Yeah.
in
And I
even
think I'm on the
5
same.
maybe. Yeah.
I said Nuggets in 5 to you. I texted you. I said
Yeah.
Nuggets in 5.
6.
Let's get on to the finals now because yeah, this is gonna. Honestly reckon this is gonna be one of the more exciting finals we've had.
Mm,
I just think like the Nuggets can just catch fire, man, and they can score from anywhere.
mm,
Um, Jokic is the best player in the league at the moment. And I think he will be for years to come.
mm,
You can't guard the man. I actually think Bam. I think it's going to be a bit harder than it was for AD and Rui Hachimura because you don't really have that kind of big man rotation that the Lakers had, where it looked like they would slow Jokic down. Jokic can still drop 30 and have 10 assists, even if you're guarding him heavy the whole night.
mm,
I think the fact that Miami don't have the big rotation is going to hurt them a lot. You can't just rely on Caleb Martin to give you 26. Not like
yeah.
I think Jimmy's going to have a big series. I really do. I really think he's going to have a big series because who's going to guard? Aaron Gordon's going to guard you. Aaron Gordon's a really good defender, but I think
Mm,
Jimmy is really good at adjusting himself to what the defense is giving him. You
mm,
kind of saw that in Game 7. He was in attack mode the whole game. Attack mode the whole game. He was pulling up for 3. He was like dropping his shoulder, pulling up for little floaters. He was doing anything he wanted because that's what the defense gave him. I
mm,
think he's going to have a big series. But I just think, I don't know. I don't think they're going to give Kevin Love many minutes just because it doesn't really work. He just doesn't really work um, like he did in those years in obviously 2016, 17, 18 when he was kind of more in his prime.
mm,
Um, Denver can just hit you from anywhere. They've got a really deep bench.
mm,
I think they're only going to go. I reckon they'll only have an 8-man rotation for the whole finals, so maybe even 7.
mm,
You've seen it kind of during the season. But you haven't also seen these two teams face each other when they're at full strength. I think they versed each other at the start of this year when I think Jamal and Michael Porter Jr. were out. And
yeah.
then they faced each other in December as well, where someone else was out. I think Caleb Martin was out. I know that's funny, but
Hero
like,
would have been. Yeah.
yeah, Tyler Hero was out. I
Yeah.
just think, yeah, we haven't seen these two teams face each other at full strength since that game where it was 2 years or a year ago, where it was like Jokic and Markieff Morris.
Mm,
So I think it's a bit harder to analyze this series because, as you saw in the first 3 games, in the series against Milwaukee, the series against Boston, they can just come out firing, completely change the shift of the game at any time. But again, Denver can do that as well because they can catch fire. They hit 4 straight threes. I can't even count how many times against the Lakers to kind of
Mhm.
bring them back into the game. So I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, yeah, they're like if they catch fire, it's fucking over. Like they're so,
Mm.
and they don't just live by the three. Like they are such a well-oiled machine in terms of their passing and finding cutters,
Mm.
and the way they like attack in those first seconds is just, the first 7 seconds is it's just like, it's so good to see because like they're so controlled. They're not looking to score. They're just looking to find
Mm.
someone in a good spot. Like they're really well controlled in that.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's going to take like a huge like part of the Heat, which we know they have, to get a couple of games under their belt.
Mm.
They can still definitely win. Like I'm not saying it's over or whatever, but like yeah, I just think it's going to take like a huge effort for them, like heaps of hustle, and like guys are going to have to get chippy, and like those perimeter guys like Gabe Vincent and Kyle Lowry, I think he's got to fucking show up. He's got to do something
Yeah.
this series. You know, he's been working for it for years. He's the veteran. You know, Caleb Martin, Max Strus, like I want like the energy from those guys is going to be like fucking like crucial. Like the hustle is going to
Yeah.
is like so crucial to this. Um, but yeah, this is going to be super entertaining. I saw Tyler Hero might be back game 3. Like
Game
that's the
3. Yeah.
goal they're looking for. That would be very interesting. It will change up the lineup that they've been used to after Oladipo went down, but it will be really telling if he can come back and provide some energy off the bench. Just having an actual scorer with the ball in his hands, like
Definitely.
it's weird they kind of go to like those role players who have kind of those undrafted guys like Gabe Vincent
Mm.
and Max Strus, like they kind of go to them in stretches, but it's not like they're handling the ball for a long time.
Mm.
It's just kind of like go make something of it now. Like we got 10 seconds left or something. Like
Yeah.
um but yeah, I think it's gonna be super energetic series. I think Jimmy's gonna go at Jokic. I think that's gonna be the game plan. Obviously offensively because he's the guy in the middle and you wanna take him out of the game, take his confidence out of the game. I think he's gonna look to use his obviously like he does this so much where he'll bump off, turn around, and then hit like a little fadeaway or something like that, or get the up and under. I think he'll do that a lot with Jokic and try to force him to come out of the paint a bit. Um, but yeah, it's definitely gonna come to it. I reckon it's gonna get very chippy. It's gonna get like
Mm.
Heat. They don't want to fucking play around. Like they lost in 2019. I reckon this series they're just gonna like, nah, we have to throw everything at them. We have to
Yeah.
get them off their poised, controlled play style. But yeah, I'm keen. I hate how the games are like kind of 3 days apart, at least for the first 3 games.
Yeah.
But no, I'm keen as it's gonna be
We're
great.
down to like the final part where there's like barely any games and it's really depressing.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah, it's
I
gonna
kind of
be
miss there's going to be 10 games every day. That was like obviously really good, but
yeah.
yeah, I think it's going to be a very underrated series. It's going to be interesting how the first few games pan out. I think there'll be games 1 and 2 will be played by the time we record our next one, so that'll be good to kind of talk about. But I think it's time to predict, and I think we should do Finals MVP and maybe an X factor of the series.
Mm,
I think I think I'm going to go Denver in. I think Denver max 6 games
mm,
max, but again, I actually don't care who wins this series. If it's a great series, and I'm happy to be wrong because I just really want a good series.
yeah. I want to be the guy who backs the Heat, so I'm gonna say Heat in 7.
Could have guessed that
uh,
one. Could have guessed it.
I think if they are going to win, it's gonna be a fucking like dogfight. So
Yeah.
I can see it going 7 games. X Factor. Wow. I mean, obviously Jimmy. I think um, if anyone is to like really, I'll go with Caleb Martin. I think again, I think he's on a roll.
Okay.
He's so confident in himself. Regardless, like I watch him during the season. He's just always like pulling up, and he's like his hustle and his energy can never be downplayed. So I'll say
Yeah.
he's that guy, and he'll take a role on Jamal Murray at times as a defender. Um, yeah, I say he's going to be that X factor.
Okay. I'm gonna say
Or
Jamal Murray.
KCP. Sorry, interrupted. Or
I like
KCP.
KCP though.
But yeah,
KCP is good. But I'm going Jamal.
mm.
Not sure who's gonna guard him. There's not many
Yeah,
people in this league that can guard Jamal Murray.
yeah. I wonder.
And yeah, I think it's gonna be a Murray. I want to say Murray X Factor and Finals MVP, but I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that. Jamal Murray, Finals MVP, and X Factor for the series. That's what
I
I'm going
like that.
with.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
Hey, that's it, and that's another great storyline as well. Like he'd have the storyline of being coming eighth to first and being missing
Yeah.
out in 2019 or 2020. But Jamal Murray, like his storyline is incredible, and like the whole
Yeah.
thing where like obviously you might look to trade him if he's got an injury that serious, and like the
Yeah.
doubt that you'll ever play again, or to that level. And the way he's come back is like incredible. So yeah, you're right. I think either
Mm.
team, I'd be happy with watching them win. More leaning towards the Heat because Jimmy is just, I think
Yeah.
he's just incredible. He's just another like league above guys, and I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
If we're looking at
100%.
guys who deserve it, and as a team, the Heat, eighth seed. But yeah, both teams have cool storylines coming to this. Jokic robbed of MVP, and he's shown
Yeah.
he's the real MVP. You know,
Which we
um,
knew before, Embiid won, by the way.
yeah, it
I
was
would, I
pretty
would say that.
100%.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
but
But I
hey,
think people forget. I know it's only been a week, but I feel like people are already forgetting how good the Nuggets are, and they're
mm,
on the not you, but I'm just saying like people are on the Heat train because it's like they've been playing the most recently. But people forget Denver's had the most rest. They're going to
mm,
come in looking good. Miami honestly might win game one just because they have the momentum. But yeah, I'm locked in for this series. This is going to be one of the best final series we've seen in a while. I think I'm
mm,
sticking by it. In the
yeah,
past 5 years, this might be one of the most exciting ones we've had for
yeah.
sure. But yeah, all right.
Let's go.
I think that wraps it up. Next week we'll recap games 1 and 2, and then I think games 3 and 4 will be played by the next Wednesday as well. So there's going to be a lot of content over the next few weeks, which is really good. We're kind of in this consistent rhythm now, which is what we've wanted for some time now. So yeah, we're really excited. Keen for this series. Yeah,
Let's go.
I'm really excited for it. I'm
Heat and
really
seven.
excited. Denver in 6, baby. Yeah, let's go.
All right, latest.
Peace.